Hey, how's everybody doing? Happy December already. Wow. I've had some things rolling around in me that I wanted to talk about, but I actually this morning started to remember something else, and I thought I would share just because I feel like I know a lot of people are probably having a little bit of a rough go of it right now. It's been a crazy year, and a lot of people are finding themselves in situations where Christmas is right around the corner, and things are going to be different this year for a lot of people. People maybe who had big plans of what they wanted to do, places they wanted to go, gifts they wanted to buy, things they've had in their mind, are kind of probably having to change some plans, and it can be a little disheartening. And so I really wanted to encourage you guys that, even though things might end up a little bit tight for some of you this holiday, keep your head up, because it's going to be okay. This season is going to end. As far as, the hard times, sometimes when I've been through some really tough times, I always remind myself that seasons always change. Sometimes the winter can feel really long, but the spring always comes. Seed time and harvest, spring, summer, winter, fall, all of them, they come. So I just wanted to encourage everybody, and no matter what, it's going to be a Merry Christmas. And so, as I was sitting there pondering some things that I had in mind, I really wanted to do some very specific things for some very specific people. This holiday, I'd been planning for quite some time, and I'm actually still really believing for a miracle. This is kind of a time, He's faithful, and He's faithful. So, but it made me start to ponder some times that I've had, in the past. I'm not a stranger to lack. I'm not a stranger to, scraping by or being under, where I'll be honest with you, we have had many years where we were blessed. We had a tree. There were a few years we didn't have a tree, where I would rather spend that $20 on a gift for the girls. It's really hard, because when you're a giver by nature, and there's such a great joy and an excitement on the inside of you when you get to do things for people and bless them. It can be extra disheartening when you're not able to do that, when you're not able to just kind of go a little crazy, and I know how that is. Okay. I've been through some tough times. And so I started to remember, there was, we did this actually a couple of years, but only because it was so successful the first time. But there was this one year where we, okay, so when we couldn't do a lot as far as like a tree and all of that kind of stuff, instead we sort of made up for it by just decorating everything. We had the girls, we would do lights all in their room. They had a bunk bed, and we would just trail lights all around the room. One year we even put the Christmas tree in their room just for fun, just to be festive. And I actually, I started to think about this. So we had a tough year. There was, this year was particularly tough, and it just was making my heart ache that I knew that even my credit cards were maxed, you know what I mean? And so I thought, okay, so they always say that it's the thought that counts. You always hear people say that, oh, well, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. Well, this one year I was pondering that, and I was trying really, really hard not to get frustrated or not to get just down about the whole thing. Like I say, I love to do stuff, and my girls have never cared. It's always been about the family time for all of us. My whole family really has been really oriented that way. But just as a mom, just to have the freedom to do what's in my heart to do, there's a liberty with that. And I just want to say, God is a blesser. He is a provider. He is a provider. And so, part of what made my heart wrench all the time was the fact that I was in lack, and that wasn't glorifying my God. That wasn't making him look like a good father or a good provider. And that used to bother me more than anything else. To be honest with you, I can live without stuff. I can, we've never starved. Obviously, I'm not starving. But I want to glorify him. I want people to look at my life and see his goodness, and I know that that's about to manifest in my life. I know it is. But this story took place during a season, and we go through seasons, and we can decide to either let it wreck us and deter us and get us down, and let our thinking get negative and bad. Or we can flip it and be so thankful for everything that we do have, be so thankful, for every little blessing, and flip it around, figure out another way, do something else, So I had been pondering about the whole, it's the thought that counts thing. And, and I remember having this conversation with the Lord, and I said, is it really the thought that counts? I mean, is it really? Is it really? Like, if we gave gifts to people that weren't real gifts, would it be the thought that counts? And, I had this conversation with Charles and the girls, and I said, hey, why don't we do this thing where you each get to go on the computer and take your time and, shop around and, write down, print out pictures, pick things that if you had all the money in the world to shop for mom, what would you get her? What is it that you would buy her? What is it that you would want to do for her to bless her? What would it be? And print it out, and let's do that. And that way you'll know when it comes time for under the tree that everything that I wanted just so much in my own heart to do for you girls and for you, Charles, you'll be able to at least see it. And it'll be like, it's the thought that counts. And so why not? Let's try that. And so that's what we did. And the girls took their time and they shopped online. I mean, of course they didn't buy anything, but they were printing out pictures, and they really put a lot of thought into it and time and effort. And they printed out, made a little packet, and wrote little notes and put them in envelopes. And, we had a few presents under the tree, but nothing close to what I desire. Nothing. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to do. I love to be a blessing, And so, come Christmas morning, I got to tell you, we opened a few gifts, I probably got them slippers. I almost always get them a pair of slippers. Just a couple little things that we could physically open. And then it was time for the envelopes. And I can't even express to you the joy that I saw on their face when they got to hand me the envelope that had all the things that they had each picked out. Like, they were just as excited for me to look in that envelope and to see. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. I got another call just then. Anyway, to put it all on the pages and the pictures that they had done. And they were so excited for me and for Charles to see what they had picked out for us. And they didn't have a limit. They didn't have like, pick 10 things. It was, hey, what's on your heart? What would you get if you could? It was that kind of thing. And then of course I did that for them, and I did that for Charles as well. And he did the same. And when we opened up those envelopes and we started looking page by page, and the girls had picked out things and wrote down why they picked that. Like, man, I was so blessed. You could have given me the actual thing that they had picked, and I wouldn't have been more blessed. I was so blessed. They were so thoughtful. I had a little foot massager thing, and, one of the girls, they bought me a house, with all the things that they had heard me dreaming about someday that I would love to have, but they, there was just one thing after another, and here's why I picked this because of that, and here's why this and because of that. And they were so excited. They were so excited to see our faces when we looked at what they picked for us. And I was the same way. And they were so blessed by the things they knew that I would get them if I could have at that moment. And I got to tell you, we called it our thoughtful Christmas. We ended up calling it our thoughtful Christmas. And we had to do it a couple of times. And we had so much fun that year with that, my big brother in the Lord, who is an evangelist, and he's actually now living in another country, but, the girls were like, let's do that for him. Let's do it for him. He was actually living up north at the time, but, let's do it for him, and let's send it to him in an email, and let's bless him too. Let's do thoughtful Christmas for him. And we did that, and that blessed him so much. He turned around and did it for us. He turned around and sent the girls a thing. It kind of became a thing, and it was so much fun. And so, the whole point of this is, sure, it's really, really fun to get to do things for people, and buy them the gifts that you have in your heart. Trust me, I have things in my heart I was really, really looking forward to doing this year for some very specific people in my life, not only my girls and family members, but, people that I appreciate, people that have been here, through some really hard times. And so, but you know what? It's okay, because this season will pass. My day is coming, and I know God is glorifying himself in me, but sometimes we have to learn the key to We have to learn the key. We have to learn the key to living in abundance and lack, to still have that joy, to still have that, that life, that the desire to still keep on keeping on no matter what, because our life does not consist of what we have. Our life does not consist of what we have. And so, keep pressing in, keep tithing, keep giving. It's going to break. It's going to come. Things are going to change. The year is going to end glorious. Okay. And so, and I wanted to share one more little story, because as I was remembering these things, about the thoughtful Christmas thing, I also had a memory that took place a little bit further back when I lived up in Washington State. And I was in my apartment, and Charles and I were not married yet, but, it was Christmas time, and we were good friends, and he was ministering to me. I'll go into some of that a little more when, how we met and those kinds of things coming up pretty soon. That's been rolling around inside of me. But for any of you guys who know Charles, he was a real jokester. He was a prankster. He, was not in the box. He got me out of the box. That man, I had never met anybody like him. He got me out of the box. And so he was not embarrassed. He was not embarrassed. He didn't get embarrassed very easily at all. He did some things I just couldn't believe that it just was like, who is this guy, when I was first getting to know him? And I'll tell you some of those stories because they're very funny. But there was this one year, and it was Christmas time. And him and I had gone to, we were going to do a little bit of Christmas shopping. And there's a wonderful Bible bookstore up there that we loved hanging out in anyway. And one time when we were out fellowshipping, we stopped. I wanted to get a couple things for the girls, and he said that he wanted to pick something up for our friend, and he didn't specify who it was for, but I was assuming, one of our Bible study friends, because we were having Bible studies at Mark and Joy's house. And so it was so funny, because he called me over to the shelf, and he was like, hey, do you think that if I were to buy a Bible like this for Mark, do you think that he would really like this? I mean, what do you think? And he was poking around, and we were looking at these beautiful study Bibles, kind of fancy, big study Bibles. And I was like, well, I don't know, I would probably like it with this, and he would probably love that. And and so he was like, okay, good idea, and he went up and had it engraved, had a little dove put on it. And so, we went about our business. Well, so come Christmas morning, he came over to open gifts, with me and the girls. And, yeah, it was really funny. And the night before, he had come over and helped the girls bake a cake for Jesus. That was something that we did every year. The girls got to bake a cake for Jesus and decorate it themselves, and they left it out. overnight. So instead of for Santa, I have a whole Santa story I'll tell you another time. But I just wanted to share this because it was really funny, unexpected. So that night when he had come over, he had asked me if I could help him wrap the gift for Mark, because he was terrible at wrapping, and he wasn't good at it, and he wanted it to look nice, and he had seen me wrapping gifts and wanted me to help. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll help you wrap it. So then when he came over to open gifts, and we were sitting around and grabbing gifts from under the tree and passing them, all of a sudden he reached behind my tree and pulled out a present, and it was the present that I had wrapped. It was, and I looked at him, and he just said, he just handed it to me, and he said, ha ha, I got you to wrap your own present. And I was like, what is the point of that? Like, why is that even okay? He got me, he already tricked me into helping him pick out the right Bible that he found out I would like, but he hadn't got me to wrap it. What a turkey. And, I got him back. I just, so that I got him back because, he was really good at starting those wars. He was a real prankster, and I did get him back. I got him back on his 40th birthday, and that's another fun story. But anyway, so that's just some fun stories about Christmas time. And so I'm having lots of memories flooding back in. But I decided that I'm going to talk about all these stories. I'm going to tell you all about Charles, because for those of you that know him, he loved God so much. He, his whole life was about ministry and ministering to people, and he struggled with some stuff, but God, he loved God. He loved people so much, and he was funny. He was a jokester, and so just really got me out of my box big time. So I'll tell you about those things sometimes. I mean, I was sometimes left flabbergasted and very embarrassed, and I had to get over myself, and it totally worked. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I want to give you guys an encouragement that there are other creative ways that you guys can have a wonderful Christmas, even if times are tight, and to be honest with you, I was always nervous about what people thought, when they look and they see, a woman like me who is professing the Lord and loving the Lord and trusting the Lord, and has just struggled with a financial thing. A lot of it was my own lack of understanding, just getting myself into my own trouble. There's a lot to that. It doesn't mean that God is not a good provider, and it doesn't mean that he's not a good father. Some of it is just flat resistance, and it's going to break. But I just wanted to encourage you guys. Okay. So in this season, take time to really kind of chunk it down to those things that are eternal and those things that are important. Your kids will thank you for it. They may not understand some stuff, but have them make homemade gifts if you have to, and have them do a thoughtful Christmas if you have to. There's nothing wrong with that. I am telling you, our girls got so much joy giving us those gifts. I still have them. I still have my envelopes with the gifts that they've given me because they meant that much to me. I could just have them in my own hand right now, and it would have been just the same joy and excitement. And so it really can be the thought that counts if you let it. So I just wanted to encourage you guys, okay? With Christmas coming up, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. God hears the cries of our heart, and he's a God of miracles. I'm still hoping to get to do all those things I've had in my heart. So, I trust him. And if I don't, it's okay. It's okay, because I know in my heart it's the thought that counts. Those people may never know what I had in my heart, but it's okay. Anyway, I love y'all. And I'm going to come back on pretty quick here because there are some more things that I want to share. But just remember, pay attention to that internal conversation going on. Pay attention to what's going on up here in your mind. Don't let thoughts and the negativity get you down, okay? Cheer up. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right? I'm telling you, it's going to be okay. All right? Love you guys. Bye.